Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakaha Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start off in Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 12, verses 3 to 4. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And these verses are talking about economic deterioration, job losses, and collapses coming to these different countries all across the planet. But in this video, I'll be specifically dealing with the United States of America, and I'm going to go into a few articles showing the continual economic decline of the United States. Hey, this country is going to go into a recession, though really it's going to be an economic collapse and a depression, because the elites that run this planet, such as the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Gettys, Massimos, Merovingians, you name it, are ready to collapse these governments and economies so they can bring about their GREAT, RESET, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, their NW0, and the United States of America is a major roadblock in their way towards getting to those goals. So as things progress, expect these situations out here to get worse. Job losses and job layoffs to continue, businesses shutting down, inflation to increase, etc., etc. But the first article I'll be going into is from the WashingtonPost.com, and the title reads, "Never Seen It This Bad. America Faces Catastrophic Teacher Shortage." Back in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. "And the grinders cease because they are few," and a grinder is simply a worker. And as we'll see in this article, hey, the grinders or workers or teachers are ceasing because there are few of them out there. Rural school districts in Texas are switching to 4-day weeks this fall due to a lack of staff, lack of teachers, lack of grinders. Florida is asking veterans with no teaching background to enter classrooms. Arizona is also allowing college students to step in and instruct children. The teacher shortage in America has hit crisis levels, and school officials everywhere are scrambling to ensure that as students return to classrooms, someone will be there to educate them. "I've never seen it this bad," Dan Domenech, executive director of the School Superintendents Association, said of the teacher shortage. "Right now, it's number one on the list of issues that are concerning school districts. Necessity is the mother of invention, and hard-pressed districts are going to have to come up with solutions." It is hard to know exactly how many U.S. classrooms are short of teachers for the 2022-2023 school year. No national database precisely tracks the issue, but state and district level reports have emerged across the country detailing staffing gaps that stretch from the hundreds to the thousands and remain wide open as summer winds winds rapidly to a close. The Nevada State Education Association estimated that roughly 3,000 teaching jobs remain unfilled across the state's 17 school districts as of early August. In a January report, the Illinois Association of Regional School Superintendents found that 88% of school districts statewide were having problems with teacher shortages. The grinders ceasing because they are few, while 2,040 teacher openings were either empty or filled with less than qualified hire. And in the Houston area, the largest 5 school districts are all reporting that between 200 and 1,000 teaching positions remain open. Carlton Jenkins, superintendent of the Madison Metropolitan School District in Wisconsin, said teachers are so scarce that superintendents across the country have developed a whisper network to alert each other when educators move between states. We're at a point right now where if I have people who want to move to California, I call up and give a reference very quick, he said. And if someone is coming from another place, say Minnesota, I have superintendent colleagues in Minnesota. They call and say, hey, I have teachers coming your way. That's pretty much it with this article. You get the point. And another example of the grinders ceasing because they are few is servers at these different restaurants out here. Because I was watching a video the other day on a YouTube channel called Appalachian Homestead, and she was talking about how when her and her family go out to restaurants like, say, Chili's or places like that, they say that the average wait time could be 40 minutes to an hour, which I've experienced that before, going to restaurants, having to wait for a table, even though you see a bunch of tables open. The reason for that is because there's a shortage on servers. They can't get people to fill those jobs. And we're seeing it's with teachers as well. So it's in a lot of other industries, and expect to see more information come out showing that in different fields of work, hey, they have less workers to fill up those positions. But now I'm gonna go to another article on the economiccollapseblog.com titled, It's Happening. Here is a list of 11 big companies that have announced layoffs within the last 2 weeks. When the economy slows down, layoffs inevitably happen. We witnessed this on a very large scale in 2008 and 2009, and now it is happening again. The U.S. economic numbers are rapidly getting worse, and companies all across America don't want to get caught with bloated payrolls as we plunge into a recession. As you will see below, many of the firms that are laying off workers are either in the real estate industry or the tech industry. Those are two industries that were on the leading edge of the boom times, and now it appears that they will also be on the bleeding edge as the economy crashes. It's always a tragedy whenever any hardworking American is forced out of a job. Unfortunately, what we are witnessing right now is just the beginning. The following is a list of 11 big companies that have announced layoffs within the last 2 weeks. At number 1, Ultratech Incorporated says it will be laying off more than 600 workers. Electric truck maker Rivian will be laying off approximately 840 workers. 7-Eleven has announced that it will be eliminating 880 corporate jobs. Shopify is laying off about 1,000 people. Vimeo says that it will be eliminating 6% of its current workforce. Redfin will be reducing the size of its workforce by 8%. Compass will be reducing the size of its workforce by 10%. RE/Max will be reducing the size of its workforce by 17%. Robinhood will be reducing the size of its workforce by 23%. It is being reported that Ford is preparing to cut as many as 8,000 jobs in the coming weeks. Geico has closed every single one of their offices in the state of California, and that will result in a vast number of workers losing their jobs. Geico, one of the largest insurance companies in the United States, reportedly closed all 38 of its California offices on Monday, resulting in hundreds of workers being laid off. Back in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. And we just read an example of that with, as it said, Geico, one of the largest insurance companies in the United States, reportedly closed. The doors shall be shut in the streets. All 38 of its California offices on Monday, resulting in hundreds of workers being laid off. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding or working is low. And with a lot of these companies anticipating hard economic times, with a recession coming, which with the way things are looking with the data, we're already in a recession, though expect a depression to come. A lot of these companies are cutting off needless weight or fat by laying off a lot of workers. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, speaking of people that have lost their jobs or are looking for jobs, rising up early in the morning to try to find jobs, but they can't find any because places don't want to hire, because they're trying to save as much money as they can, or businesses are shutting down, which we saw a lot of during 2020 and 2021 with the lockdowns over the Cragamuffin 1-9. And it's only going to get worse as things progress. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. According to the company, Geico would not be leaving outright, and will still be offering policies directly online, with all insurance functions continuing as normal. Buying directly through agents by phone, however, will not be possible. We continue to write policies in California, and we remain available through our direct channels for the more than 2.18 million California customers presently insured with us, said Geico in a statement on Monday. On top of everything else, Amazon has announced that it reduced the size of its workforce by approximately 100,000 workers in just one quarter. With recession fears mounting and inflation, the war in Ukraine, and the lingering pandemic taking a toll, many tech companies are rethinking their staffing needs, with some of them instituting hiring freezes, rescinding offers, and making rounds of layoffs. Amazon.com Incorporated was one of the latest companies to discuss its belt-tightening efforts this week. During its quarterly earnings call Thursday, the e-commerce giant said it's been adding jobs at the slowest rate since 2019. After relying on attrition to winnow its staff, Amazon now has about 100,000 fewer employees than in the previous quarter. You could fill up two very large football stadiums with 100,000 workers. Eventually, this wave of job losses will become a tsunami, and millions of Americans will suddenly find that they are unable to continue paying their bills. That's it with this article. But wait, there's more. I'm going to go to my second article on the economiccollapseblog.com titled, "Why is Walmart laying off so many workers?" If brighter days are eventually coming for the U.S. economy, why would Walmart be so eager to lay off corporate employees? Of course, the truth is that brighter days are not coming. Yesterday, I posted an article in which I listed 11 big companies that are laying off workers. After I completed that article, I discovered that Walmart is also letting people go. If a seemingly unshakable giant such as Walmart already feels compelled to eliminate jobs, what is the outlook for employees of companies that are far smaller and far weaker? Back in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. And the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. People looking out into the news or the job market for good information to see that things are getting better. They're not seeing that. They're seeing that things are only getting worse. The recession's getting worse. It looks like it's going to turn into a depression, and the economic situation is deteriorating rapidly. Inflation, job losses, food shortages, you name it. When Walmart announced that it would be laying off nearly 200 corporate employees, it rapidly made headlines all over the nation. Walmart let go of almost 200 corporate employees on Wednesday amid the economic downturn and rising inflation, according to a person familiar with the development. The company said in a statement that these layoffs are part of updating its structure. Yes, they are updating their structure because they know that really hard times are coming. And those that look out of the window be darkened. And the projections that the company recently released confirm this. Walmart said it now anticipates adjusted earnings per share for the second quarter and full year to decline around 8 to 9% and 11 to 13% respectively. Previously, the retailer had predicted a 1% fall it had previously forecasted for the full year. Food inflation is double digits and higher than at the end of the first quarter. This is affecting customers' ability to spend on general merchandise categories and requiring more markdowns to move through the inventory, particularly apparel, Walmart said. I also just learned that SoundCloud has decided to lay off approximately 20% of its global workforce. SoundCloud will be laying off approximately 20% of its global workforce, citing a significant company transformation and the current economic and financial landscape. During this difficult time, we are focused on providing the support and resources to those transitioning while reinforcing our commitment to executing our mission to lead what's next in music, reads a statement by a rep for SoundCloud. Just like 2008, the pace of layoffs is beginning to accelerate at a pace that is absolutely breathtaking. If you missed my article from yesterday that contained many more examples, you can find it right here. And it's the article we just read from. As more Americans lose their jobs, the number of people filing new claims for unemployment benefits will continue to go up. In fact, the number for last week was up to 260,000. The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits edged higher last week, hovering near the highest level of the year, the latest sign that the historically tight labor market is starting to cool off. Figures released Thursday by the Labor Department show that applications for the week ended July 30th rose to 260,000 from the downwardly revised 254,000 recorded a week earlier. That is above the 2019 pre-situation average of 218,000 claims and just narrowly missed topping the 8-month high of 261,000 recorded in mid-July. Meanwhile, inflation continues to spiral out of control, and that is causing immense hardship for millions of American families. According to Zero Hedge, the misery index in the United States just hit the highest level since 2011. Although the White House seems to believe that things are pretty okay, the U.S.'s misery index suggests they're not. June's misery index, a composite of unemployment and CPI inflation, has risen to 12.5%. That's the highest since September 2011, when the U.S. economy was experiencing a time of very weak job growth and economic growth following the Great Recession. At the time, the yield curve almost inverted, and there were fears of a new recession. June's misery index is also above the index from 2007 and 2009 recession, when that index peaked at 11.4%. So many people are hurting out there right now. This is Isaiah chapter 24. I'm going to start at verse 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. And as we just saw, hey, the misery index has increased for a lot of American families out here. Hey, they're losing their jobs, or they're just not making enough money and living paycheck by paycheck and don't know how they're going to be able to pay for food, fuel, or the rent or the cost for their housing. The mirth of the tabret ceaseth, and the noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp ceaseth. Hey, as B.B. King said, the thrill is gone. They shall not drink wine with a strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. And I've done many videos in the past showing that in the United States of America, the use of alcohol and drugs has increased due to people being depressed out here. And also just in general, Americans are more depressed than ever, which is all these different situations taking place. Hey, the war in Ukraine and talks of it flaring up into World War III or a nuclear conflict, recession, job losses, food shortages, the list goes on and on. So many people are hurting right now. Many Americans are working as hard as they can, but it's still not enough to pay the bills because inflation has been absolutely eviscerating our standard of living. As a result, more people are falling out of the middle class and into poverty with each passing day. The lines at our food banks are getting longer and longer, and many of those that are now showing up for assistance were once solidly part of the middle class. Here's one example. The first time Kelly Wilcox drove her 2017 Dodge Grand Caravan to the food pantry near her home in Payson, Utah, she immediately noticed one thing that surprised her: new models of Toyota and Honda sedans and minivans. I saw a bunch of other people with cars like me who had kids in their cars, she said. The mother of four young sons didn't know what to expect when she made an early visit to Tabitha's Way local food pantry this spring. She knew that she needed help. Her husband had lost his job. He soon found a new job as an account manager, but that wasn't enough with inflation. Can you identify with Kelly Wilcox? And a lot of Americans out there can identify with Kelly Wilcox, and the situation is only going to get worse from here on out. We're living in the last seconds of the last days of this current age of the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, the so-called white people. We're living in the twilight hours of the United States of America, where all hell is going to break loose before nuclear missiles hit this place and turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. So to you people out there, you better buckle up because it's about to be a bumpy ride. As it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. But now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 19, verses 14 to 15. Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt, and this isn't talking about ancient Egypt or Mizraim under the biblical Hamites or so-called Africans. This is talking about the modern day spiritual Egypt as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8, the United States of America under these modern day spiritual Egyptians, these American Edomites. And they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And as we clearly saw from those articles, hey, a lot of these companies are laying off workers. It's becoming hard for Americans to find jobs out here or even be able to live off the jobs that they do have, etc., etc. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.